Hey guys, welcome. Today we're going to look at two different things. We're going to look at subject pronouns in Spanish. That's the verb. Those are words like I, you, him, her, we, they. And then we're also going to look at the verb ser, which means to be, and how you can kind of use those together to make sense. To say things like I am tall or we are from Texas, for example. All right, let's get started. All right, to get started, we're going to first look at the subject pronouns. And I'm going to put these up on this Jamboard, which, by the way, will be available to you in the description of the video via a link. And I'm going to put them on a chart. Some teachers call it a T-chart. I just call it a chart or a verb chart. And the reason we do this is because it will help you to recognize a pattern with verb conjugations. And if you can understand this pattern and use it, it makes a lot of things that you do with Spanish far easier. So even if your teachers don't teach this, I would suggest you learn it because it's a great tool to have in your tool belt. And this is something that I would copy down and have in my notes with me, especially for beginning students. Eventually, you'll have used this so often that you won't need to have it in front of you anymore. You'll just have it memorized. So again, the stuff right here are going to be the subject pronouns. I do want to point out that the words on the left-hand side of this chart are singular, meaning they refer to just one person. And then the words on the right-hand side are going to be plural, which means they refer to more than one person. Okay, so the first word, I'll put the Spanish words in blue, and then I'll put the English next to them in a different color. So the first word we're going to have in here is yo, and yo just means I. If you've been in Spanish even just for a little while now, you probably already know that one. The next one is going to be tu, and tu means you, and I would write this down on your paper. It means you in an informal or familiar situation. So if you, a student, are talking to your friend and you wanted to say you are interesting, you would use that word tu, and not the formal you, which we'll see in just a second. Next words we have are él, ella, and usted. Okay, the word él means he, ella is she, it can also mean like him or her. And then usted is the you formal. So if you're talking to your teacher and you want to ask them where you lived, you would use that word usted for you when talking to your teacher. So it's a more formal situation, primarily like if you're use it for an adult, maybe someone you don't know yet. I'm going to jump over to the right-hand side now. And again, these words on the right all refer to multiple people. So the first one is nosotros or nosotras, okay, with an AS instead of an OS. The difference there is that one is masculine and one is feminine. So nosotros with an OS means we, and that means we for a group of boys or a mixed group of genders. And then nosotras with an AS would be for a group of girls wanted to say we. The next one down, depending on your teacher and where you're learning Spanish, you might not learn this one, but I'm going to put it on here anyway. I'm just putting an asterisk to point out to you that a lot of people don't require you to learn this. And the reason is because this form of the verb that we'll learn in a second is used in Spain only. So a lot of like the 23 Spanish-speaking countries out there, Spain is the only one that uses this, but I'm going to teach it to you anyway. So vosotros and vosotras mean like you guys. So if I was in Spain and a teacher there and I wanted to talk to my students and tell them, you guys have a test tomorrow, I would use that word vosotros for you guys. And then vosotras if I was referring to just girls. And then the bottom right is basically the plural version of the stuff on the left. So instead of él for he, we'll have ellos for they, ellas also means they, and ustedes basically means you guys. It doesn't necessarily mean you formal guys, but just you guys. So we got they and you plural. Now there's another version of verb conjugations that exist in a handful of Latin American countries, which is called the voceo. If you're interested in learning that, I do have videos on it, and you can search my channel for that. So have that information written down so that you can reference it. The next thing we're going to do is look at this verb ser, which means to be. So we'll use this to say things like I am, you are, we are, things like that. So the verb ser is to be. The yo form of this, meaning I am, is soy. So if I wanted to say I am tall, I could say soy alto, or I'm interesting, soy interesante, or I'm from a place, soy de California, from California. The you are is eres. So maybe you're in Spanish 1, you learn how to say, where are you from? You'd say, de donde eres, because you're asking you. You could say, you are pretty. Tú eres bonita or bonito. The next one down is just one word. I'm not going to write everything on here. Maybe I suggest you write it down as I'm going along. So S can be, it's kind of like is, right? Like he is or she is. It can also mean you are for usted. So if you're, again, talking to your teacher and you wanted to say, you're from California, and ask them that, then you'd use the S for the you are on that one. And remember, these words on the left-hand side are all just for one person. And I'll show you why that helps in just a second. The top right here, so somos means we are. So if I wanted to say we are students, I could say somos estudiantes. This one in Spain, so if I wanted to talk to my students in Spain and say, you guys are funny, I could use that word and say sois cómicos, for example. And the last one here, son, means they are, or you guys are. Now, if you're wondering, so I did say that soy means I am. I could, if I wanted to, put the yo in front of that, like this, and say yo soy, and that still just means I am. It just kind of puts extra emphasis on the I part. And that's the same with the tú eres. So eres means you are, tú eres also means you are, it just puts emphasis on the you. For the rest of them, it kind of puts clarification. So like, let's say, for example, you came into your teacher's classroom and you heard him say, es estudiante. You know that somebody is a student, but you don't know who. So you might, ask teacher, well, who you're talking about. And then he could point to, say, one of the boys in the class and say, él es estudiante, for he is a student. Or maybe he's talking about a girl and he could say, ella es estudiante, for example. So those words can be clarifying words. So once you have this written down, if you don't pause it, but if you do, I'm going to go to another slide and give you an activity to practice this concept. So pause it if you're not ready, but if you are, here we go. All right, so this is kind of what a test in my class on this looks like. It's a little bit shorter than I would do, but what you want to do, I'm going to kind of show you my thought process and how you can decide which form of ser you're going to use in these answers. You'll note that I did not use sois in here. I teach that to my students, but I don't require them to know it. So for number 1, it says Kevin and then de Argentinas. So I'm going to say Kevin is from Argentina. So what I need to decide is, do I want to use soy, eres, es, somos, or son? Now, if you want to go through the full thought process here, I'm going to ask myself first, am I talking about one person or am I talking about more than one person? So since Kevin is one person, right, I'm going to be using this information on the left-hand side, nothing on the right. So then you might ask yourself, where does Kevin fit on this chart? So is Kevin me? Is he I? No, he's not. Is he you? Well, no, Kevin's not you. You are you. So he's down here, right? I'm talking about Kevin. I've used he. So I'm going to use this, Kevin, and say Kevin S. So that's going to be my answer here. Kevin is from Argentina. Number 2 says, los estudiantes are intelligent. So again, same question. How many students or how many people am I talking about? One or more than one? I'm talking about more than one. So I know that the information I'm going to use is the stuff on the right-hand side of the chart. So I have to ask myself, are the students we, like us, or are the students them? Well, if I'm talking about the students, then the students are they, right? So this is what I'm going to use to say they are. So I'll come back over here. I'll say los estudiantes son inteligentes. Students are intelligent. Number 3, this one's probably a little bit easier. So it just says yo, right? So if I go back to my chart over here, yo is up here on the top left. And then on the right, you can see yo goes with soy. So I'm just going to put soy for I am. teacher. Number 4, we've got Edras y yo. So Edras, and that little Y by itself, if you weren't sure, the letter Y by itself is pronounced E, and it means and. So Edras and I are friends. So we got more than one person, right? So we know I have to use the information on the right-hand side over here. I'm not using vosotros, so I don't have to worry about that. So it's either going to be somos or it's going to be some. Since it's Edras and I, that's us, right? That's we. So I want to use this information right here. So this is my answer, somos. So if I want to say we are, I'm going to put somos in that blank. And then lastly, it says tú, and we know that tú on the chart is on the middle left-hand side, right? Tú goes with eres. It can't go with anything else. So eres, just like that. That's kind of it. That's how we can use ser to talk about what people are or what people are from. We can use it for other things as well. But again, I highly suggest that you have these charts, especially the stuff on the left-hand side, written down and memorized, because as you're progressing, you'll be able to learn patterns and apply those patterns to other verbs that you're learning, and it just makes everything so much easier. If you have questions about any of this, let me know. Otherwise, this Jamboard is available to you in the description of the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Hasta luego.